Hey everyone, I know at this point in the video we normally do a funny, silly sketch and James is probably wearing a wig, but we've been working together on Throttle House almost a year and we just wanted to take this chance to say thank you.
Yeah, it is a lot of work, but it is our dream job and we have our subscribers and the people that watch us regularly to thank for that. Also, anyone watching this on the toilet right now, respect.
So we've got lots of road tests and track tests coming your way, but in this one, there's no time travel or explosions or special effects or anything like that, sorry.
Yeah. All right, is it safe to get out now?
I don't know, actually it doesn't really look that safe. You're watching Throttle House. I'm Thomas.
And I'm James.
This is a BMW M4.
And this is a Mercedes-AMG C63 S.
The M4 is not new. In fact, we're expecting a new one next year. But it would be a mistake to throw the current M4 to the wayside, especially if you take into consideration the competition package, which gives this one crazy big 20-inch wheels, revised adaptive suspension, and a bump to 444 horsepower from the same 3-liter inline-6 twin-turbo S55. We are going to tell you exactly what that performance is like, but I can tell you now that this M4 is hardened and tuned enough that on long journeys on a rough highway, road noise and vibrations do battle to try and be your favorite annoyance. Now, many of you that follow Throttle House are probably waiting for our German trio round 3, including the RS5. But we decided to wait until the new M4 comes out, and then we're going to make that one a track test. But for now, let's put these two through the ringer. So if you have $115,000 Canadian, you can get this M4, here in Cabriolet form, which is arguably one of the best all-around sports cars available today.
Or you can have a 2019 C63 S, seen here in obsidian black. The word Demogorgon means Lord of all that swims in darkness. This isn't that, I just thought that was really cool. However, the C63 S isn't far from it. It is a rear-wheel drive powerhouse that provides demonic acceleration in a lustrous and comfortable package. Refreshed for this year, there are a few new things going on that we'll cover in a minute. For now, in North America at least, the C63S can be had in 3 ways. You can lop the top off, you can get a coupe, or for the more passenger-focused variety, there's a sedan, all of which get a muscular 503 horsepower to play with. Also, unlike that M4, this has a fully fledged AMG V8 engine, handcrafted and even signed by the person who put it together. So I just want to say a huge thank you to Caramellements. Yeah. And also a special thank you to Mercedes-Benz of Oakville for allowing us to use this vehicle for our review.
If you're new to Throttle House, we do car reviews, track tests, and quite a lot of messing around. So subscribe and hit the bell.
Alright, BMW M4. Select my M2 button. That puts everything in the most aggressive setting. I'm going to manually shift. You get to listen to this exhaust.
Listen to that. AMG C63 S. This is a car that means business. And unlike the inline-6 Thomas is in right now, this is a 503 horsepower 4-litre bi-turbo V8. Which means you can drink from the goblet of power all night long.
So this has, a BMW M engine. And I know that there's going to be a new version of this in the new M4 when it comes out, but the one that's still here with us right now is utterly brilliant. It has a significant amount of low-end torque, and it revs really hard all the way to the top. It is turbocharged, and there isn't anything what you would call lag, but it certainly feels like it tapers off right near the red line. But there's still something about the nature of the way that it revs that I still want to wring it right out.
With the help of those two turbos, this car puts the 516 pound-feet of torque to those rear wheels so smoothly, and it does so through the 9-speed transmission. It was a 7-speed before this year. Gear changes are lightning fast. We're in 63 S zone now, so we want it to be visceral, we want it to be raw. And as capable as this car is, and as glorious as a V8 soundtrack can be, it doesn't feel that raw, it feels comfortable. This can be a gentleman cruiser easily. The steering is incredibly tight, incredibly easy. It's a little bit lighter than I thought it was going to be, even in race mode. It doesn't get my skin tingling, not in the way that Thomas has been saying that the M4 has for him.
And then there's the exhaust. This is the Titanium M exhaust, and it is one of the loudest exhausts I have ever heard on a stock car. It sounds like a bear is losing a fight to a wolverine. It barks, and it howls, and it wails, and it gurgles, and it moans. It's just so charismatic. It might not be a muscly V8, but it is a very proud inline six.
There's something about the V8, you know, and they say there's no replacement for displacement, and it's an annoying rhyme because it makes sense. It is just a glory to row through these gears. There is a downside though, and this is a topic of controversy. There is now, for 2019, a particle filter in the exhaust as a result of emissions. And we've lost a lot of that theatre around the exhaust. It used to crackle and bang and pop a lot more than it currently does, much more indicative of an AMG. And whilst Thomas tells me that from the outside, this sounds like an absolute lion, which I can believe considering it sounds pretty good on the inside, it's definitely missing what it was. It's definitely missing that theatre, that drama.
So this is a DCT, and you can get this in manual, unlike the C63 that James is in. However, this is a kind of an old version of one, and it's a little bit like stuttery at low speeds. However, I can select how aggressive I want the gear changes to be, all the way from smooth, all the way up to a full neck-snapping Steven Seagal.
Yeah, if you want to, you can light up those rear wheels exactly in the AMG fashion we've come to expect. Now, most of the changes in here are interior changes, and we'll talk about them with Thomas in a little bit. For now though, let me dote on the ones that I love that don't just involve interior changes. For one thing, we now have 9 levels of traction control to choose from, so that you can customize your sliding pleasure as you want it. New for this car, we have slippery mode. Great for Canada. But on top of that, this year we get AMG Dynamics, which is a software that reads a bunch of sensors to predict what the car is able to do and then helps the driver by using stability control and brake-based torque vectoring. Essentially, you get to choose how much the car helps you by pairing a driving mode with an AMG Dynamics mode, from which you get to choose Basic, Advanced, Pro, and Master. So because I'm feeling quite aggressive right now, and I don't want my hand held too much, I'm going to put it into the race setting for driving, and then I'm going to put the dynamic mode into master. And that way, so now that puts me in master race.
Engine and transmission aside though, while I'm sure that the BMW engineers are over there putting a lot of effort into making the new version of this even better, this is still a very connected car. In the rear end of most cars, there's a thing called a subframe. The subframe holds onto suspension components in the differential, and it bolts to the underside of the car, often using rubber bushings. Those rubber bushings flex and bend, and they make the rear end of the car feel a little bit sloppy. Actually, on my BMW race car, I actually replaced those rubber bushings with solid mounts, which made the rear end tighter. This M4 actually has a subframe that is directly bolted to the chassis of the car, which means that the rear end is incredibly sharp. And that means that the rear end of this car is so connected to me. It's telepathic, the way that the rear wheels break away. And that, coupled with the M differential in this car, means that you just have oversteer anytime you want it. And it is so progressive. And actually, many of you have probably seen me drift around the M2 competition. This car, while I haven't had it out at a track and really cooked some tires with it, it is a much more progressive car at the limit than the M2. The M2 is a lot more sharp. And the front end grip is really, really good, but I find that the steering, while good off-center, it's a little bit numb in the middle of the corner.
And people complain about the ride in the C43 and the C63. I don't have that complaint. I live in the city. I found this to be absolutely fine. It's supple yet communicative, but it's just not crazy. It doesn't. I don't feel like I'm one with the chassis. I just feel like I'm driving a very competent car. And so for that reason, I'm really looking forward to trying that M4.
Well,
you have to wait and see till you drive it.
Okay.
All right,
Can't
styling.
wait. Yes.
So, like the coupe, this convertible has the wide fender flares.
Wide body is everything.
It looks excellent.
I love
it
it.
also has the matte black cross-spoke wheels.
Yes.
And it has new LEDs this year. We've got one big, two small instead of two big.
Wow.
And the new AMG grille, which looks really aggressive.
That looks fantastic.
Yeah,
yes.
anything that you can black out on this car, you can black out.
Except for this chrome strip.
Except for the chrome strip, which makes the convertible top look like a hat.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, this is obsidian black metallic.
Okay.
It has the lip spoiler on the back, and it has the new diffuser and exhaust tips.
Which are fake.
Which are fake, but as a result, they stay clean throughout the year.
But they're still fake. Oh, mine does not have fake exhaust tips. I have the titanium exhaust with carbon fiber tips. They look fantastic and they sound fantastic.
They look mean.
So, my M4. This has the
M4, hang on.
Well, maybe I'll buy it. I don't know.
Thomas has loved this car
I
so
love this
much.
car so much. Okay, this has the ultimate package.
Yes.
Which is a package we can only get in Canada that has everything that you can conceivably get on it.
Well, that sounds expensive.
No. No, it's
How
not.
much does it cost?
It's like a couple grand.
I looked it up actually. Yeah, it's $26,000.
It's $26,000.
It basically ticks every option. So for the price of an extra Honda Civic Si,
you can have the ultimate.
you get the ultimate
It comes
package.
with lots of cool stuff though. It has, these wing mirrors are now carbon fiber. We've got competition stuff. These wheels, which are called Style 666.
Ooh.
That's very good. Also,
They look amazing.
They
by
do
the way.
look amazing.
Yeah.
And I have this blacked out kidney grille. Anyway, overall, this being a convertible, it looks really good. The proportions
the
are
hardtop's
quite good.
amazing. I wish Mercedes made a hardtop.
I agree, yes.
I wish
no,
they did.
This looks fantastic. Also, all the windows come down, so it's just this open gap, which is really cool. You can do that too, I guess.
Yeah.
Interiors?
Yes.
All right. M4.
This is nice.
Yes, actually, this has a Silverstone white leather package.
Silverstone, eh? Very posh.
It's really, really
This
nice.
is slightly old looking to me though.
It is.
Has
like
that changed since 2014?
No. This
And
has
what model year is this?
2020.
2020.
This has an analog gauge cluster, which is rare nowadays.
Yes.
But not that I particularly love this one. I would just prefer this over what BMW's new gauge cluster.
But they've reinterpreted this in things like the M5 and the X3M.
Yeah, and it looks
And
lovely.
it's really good.
I want a digital version of that exact thing.
That's what that is.
That one is, yeah, but like
Yeah.
for all of the BMWs, that's what it should all be.
Yeah.
Old iDrive, old M steering wheel. I'm not calling it old because it still feels lovely and new, but compared to the new steering wheel that they're using in every car, this one feels
These
different.
seats are comfortable as well. I like them.
They're a little bit hard on long journeys. The bottom's a little bit hard.
Yeah?
Yeah,
You got
yeah.
a sensitive tushy?
I guess I do. I have neck heaters though, it makes me feel better. And this carbon fiber is amazing. Honestly, if you were to buy this car today, you would maybe feel a little bit dated in some aspects of it, because you don't have like an Audi digital gauge cluster or whatever, but it is still lovely and you wouldn't regret it.
You know what has a really nice new interior?
I'm guessing it's the AMG beside me.
Yeah. Let's go look. All right, C63 S interior.
This doesn't look that new. I
That's
guess.
because you've been spoiled. We've been in 2019 C classes.
Yes.
Right? We did the C300, we did the C43.
I guess I've been in a lot. Okay.
Now we've progressed.
This is the new AMG wheel though.
This is the new AMG wheel, so we can adjust our drive modes with this spinny wheel like a Porsche.
That's really
And we have the ability to adjust things here as well. You hear that exhaust come on?
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool. And then
Okay.
this screen is epic.
Yeah.
You have the ability, because it was analog. In 2018 and below, it was the analog screen.
And now you can super
So
sport,
now, yeah, we now
classic.
have the full suite of digital things. So this also has the track pace stuff. So if it has those tracks downloaded on the system, it will show you them on the screen and you can set lap times and record 0 to 60s. But if you have the head-up display, it even shows you stuff like braking zones and corners for the track.
Interesting. That's a bit bold. I mean, like, what if the braking zone changes because your brakes are fading a little bit? Okay, that scares me a little bit. That's very cool, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure that I would use that on the track.
All right. And this is different as well.
Yes.
This is wider and lower.
This is the new Merc Tech.
Yes.
Right.
But it doesn't have the M-Bucks. And they've kept it fancy in here, right?
Well, they certainly have, because there's an IWC Schaffhausen watch clock thing in the middle.
I'll pretend I know what that is.
That's a really expensive watch company.
Is that better than Casio?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, this is a $1,500 option,
Wow, it's a lot of money.
but there's a lot of carbon
Actually,
fiber.
wait, you know what? In every C-Class we've been in,
It creaked, right?
it creaks like crazy.
This isn't bad at all.
It does a little bit, but like compared to the wood and the silver,
You know what though? I prefer the look of the wood. But then we get the brushed silver here.
that's very nice.
Which is
yeah.
very, very nice. And the Burmester
Alcantara.
sound system.
Oh, is it good?
Excellent.
My Harman Kardon's okay in the M4.
Well, because this is the upgraded, right?
Okay. Anyway, these seats are very comfortable.
Yeah, you can get performance seats in these, which look, feel, and bolster you amazingly well.
Yeah.
And now they got ventilated on the performance seats, so I would pay, even though
Would
these
you?
are comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a 63.
Yeah, that's fair.
Right.
Okay, this is very nice. Can I drive it?
Yes.
All right, in the AMG, the steering wheel is nice. Okay, first thing, it's a V8. I love BMW's inline sixes, but that sounds really good. Like the induction noise of a V8 is just good. But this, yeah, James wasn't lying. It doesn't nearly have as much drama on the exhaust.
That sounds good. And I know what it sounds like from the outside. Now this has less power, but it's just as fast. So really it's a case of how does it drive? How does it make me feel? It's more boisterous. It's easier to find the edge of this because you hit it so quickly.
Oh, the power delivery is so smooth. Oh, it's such a beautiful engine, these AMGs. We love the C43, but this does feel a little bit next level to it. Steering is still quite light, but there's a decent amount of feedback actually, and the front end is really, really direct. However, there isn't as much of a connection to the road in this as I got in the M4. This is a lot more of a cruiser than a sports car feel.
There's something old in the way it drives, and I know when this car first came out, people said that it was the numb one, it wasn't so exciting. But if you drive a BMW that was made this year, this starts to look very raw. The chassis is communicating with me. I can feel vibrations through the wheel. It sounds brilliant. The downshifts are bloody quick. Also, I know we haven't really mentioned the convertibleness of these cars in this review, and it didn't occur to me to talk about it till now, but there is a little bit more cow shake in this car than there was in the C63 S. So take that for what it's worth.
Now, I'm often accused of being a BMW fanboy, and I get that, but there's something about that M4 that actually gets my heart rate going. I'm the first one to say if a BMW is not good, like that M340 missed the mark, but the M4 does not. And it has a level of connection and insanity to it that this doesn't feel like it has until you really drive it flat out. So all the time, the M4 is more fun. So it's my choice.
In fact, the whole of the C63 S feels more refined than this, and turning on the C63 S feels sharper than this. Although they're both very willing to oversteer. I would just want to find a way to get some more sound out of that C63 S, because right now as it stands, this takes it, and I don't want to live in a world where an M4 beats the sound of a C63 S. Okay, to conclude, and it's not as easy as I thought it was going to be, one of two things needs to happen. This needs to get refreshed, or the C63 S has to find a way to get back to its noisy, brash exhaust sounds. And until that happens, this is the more visceral, raw experience. And when it comes to the top-end engines of these models, that's what I want. I want visceral, I want raw. Otherwise, why not just settle for a C43 or an M340? And in that case, it's the inline six for me.